Welcome to another episode of Let's Make Work Happen. I'm Jennifer Connell, and today I'm happy to welcome Mala Cornell, Director of Global Mobility at Royal Bank of Canada. Hi, Mala. How are you doing today?
Hi, Jen. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. And before we dive into our topic, you have had a big year. You've had a new position, a new company, and you recently took on the leadership role as chair of the CERC Board of Directors. This reminds me, last year, when you and I both collaborated on a panel together, we both presented and talked about mental health and wellness and mobility industry. And then we did it again this year, talking about, change and uncertainty in our industry that continued into this year. And change and uncertainty can happen even with exciting events. And that certainly happened for you this year. Did you feel that you were ready for all this change this year? I'm sure it required a lot of support. Were you prepared for it?
Yeah, it's a good question. That is a lot. Like when you lay it out like that, that's a lot of change. Like a new job, chair position at the industry association, new company. I was at my last company for many years. Yeah. So is anyone ever ready for change? Probably not. I tend to be someone who welcomes change, so that's fun. But this is a lot. I mean, this is uncomfortable change, or it could be, and a bit scary change too. But for me, this change was planned. I was somewhat in control of some of this stuff. I knew that the chair position was upcoming this year. I had time to prepare and put my hat in the ring for the position here at RBC, and I'm delighted that I made the change. So yeah, change is scary, but it's good, especially when you have an opportunity to shape some of that.
That's great. Well, I can't think of somebody who's more prepared for it than you. And it's something that in mobility talk about with employees within our organizations who are going through it when they're going on assignments is how scary change can be, but it can be very, very exciting opportunity. So when we think of the topic at hand, which is we're going to be talking about mentorships, that can include a lot of change as well. But they seem to be finding their way as a successful manner in how to support professionals when it comes to change, right? In a number of ways. What drew you to leading mentorship initiative with CERC? What spoke to you about it?
I find that there's a lot of informal mentorship that happens within the Canadian Employee Relocation Council community. I experienced some of that on my own through discussions with people in the community, and Stafford was an informal mentor to me, especially when I was thinking about if mobility was an area that I wanted to stay. I knew I was keen to grow and progress. I was looking at other options to branch out or stay within this industry. And I know that by doing that, by having that connection and that informal mentorship, it really helped me decide where I wanted to be and grow and flourish within the function I'm in. So I wanted to figure out a way together with the CERC and many people there to help bring this to a more formal process. Because not everyone is comfortable networking and asking for help and reaching out, right? So the formal program enables us to provide a platform which our membership can engage in different ways. It's not just a party and networking for us extroverts, myself included, but for everyone to have an opportunity to either on the mentor side share their experiences or on the mentee side have an opportunity to learn from our community and help them grow and flourish in the function of mobility.
Nice. And for introverts like myself, we will never turn down a good party, so we welcome those as well. So Mala, can you tell me about the CERC mentorship program and how it works?
The CERC mentorship program is a program that enables mentors and mentees to come together. So mentors to share their knowledge, their experiences, help a less experienced individual or less knowledgeable individual in an area come together to help build and shape knowledge, share information and exchange, and really help perhaps someone through their career as they think about their career journey in the mobility space, which is quite vast. It spans across many areas, corporate, non-corporate, as we refer to it as, But there are many facets in between each of those. And so we are encouraging cross-pollination, if you will. So lots of opportunity there for members, both on the mentor and mentee side, to connect in a more formal way. We've got application forms on the site. Matches are being done by a committee of the board. We'll then reach out to those that have been matched and enable them an opportunity to meet. And then the CERC will monitor how things are going for the length of the relationship, which we've set for a time period of a year. Check in, get some best learnings, and then hopefully continue to roll this out in years to come.
That's great. It's great. Sounds like there's a lot of tools available to both the mentors and the mentees, correct?
For sure. If you've never been a mentor or a mentee, not to worry. Our website has information around what the program is, what the time commitments look like, some do's and don'ts, a little bit of information around how to structure your meetings and how frequently those are. And there's a committee behind all of this as well. So if there are questions or concerns along the way, there's availability to myself and the subcommittee of the board to talk about how things are going or help guide or coach you in a different way if needed.
So you told us a little bit about your past experience with mentorships, but could you tell us a little bit more about that special someone or someone's in your career or life that you have considered to be mentors? And what did that mean to you? How has that kind of supported you in your career?
I touched on one that actually helped me understand that I wanted to actually be part of the mobility community. It can be a lonely place if you're of one person in an HR department in an organization and you're not really sure how to navigate. So that individual helped me understand the CERC community and the mobility community to help guide and shape how I built my career and program at the organization I was with. I've also used mentors. There's another one that comes to mind, a senior HR person who I had connected with early in my career. I'm very interested in growing and progressing. I want to have the next title because title is really important to me and my family, and I want to keep moving up. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to talk to her. She's an HR leader. She doesn't work in the organization that I work in. She can be objective. And she challenged me. She challenged me pretty hard. And she said, I'm hearing a lot of structural interest, Mala, in moving from one title to the next, but what do you really want to do? What are you passionate about? And so, it's a pretty obvious thing, but I hadn't thought about that. I was just so focused on others around me growing and progressing, my need to grow and progress, but I didn't really think through what that actually meant for me. And so those two conversations in particular, I think, have helped me understand and be guided by what's important to me, understanding my function and knowing it really well. And if I'm still interested in both of those things, the growing and progressing and the title and all that stuff, it follows, but that shouldn't be the goal.
Right. You mentioned something really important. A great point at the beginning is that sometimes it can be a very lonely place. And I think as we see companies in the next year, they're going to be finding that there's going to be a lot of cost pressures. They're going to be finding ways to have to do more with less. There may be some more of that where they're going to be, particularly with smaller organizations, that's maybe not the case with RBC, but maybe smaller organizations where they're going to be that one person in the HR department. They're going to need to reach out to people. A mentor is going to be very important to them to help them to navigate not only their department, but maybe their own career. They're going to want that support to lean on and to maybe find guidance and just have an ear to bend once in a while. So I think being able to reach out to CERC, go to connections, having that someone to look to find that guidance. I think this will be a very important time for them to be able to reach out for multiple reasons, for career, for that support, emotional, mental stability, to be able to have those tools and resources. And if it's not the right fit, there's always other people that you can look to. It's a way to broaden your network. So I appreciate that kind of insight. So I'd like to, have people walk away with a few pieces of advice, some of the things that you've learned over the years. Tips for mentors. What comes to your mind as the top 2 or 3 pieces of advice when you think for mentors that you've learned?
I think for mentors, top tips, being a mentor myself and having been a mentee, create a safe and trusting environment that enables the mentee to speak. So you can do that through active listening, through not being judgmental, through, asking questions and being curious and helping your mentee think through issues or problems without necessarily jumping to try to solve. I feel like that's a really good skill for a mentor to have or to practice through the mentor-mentee relationship. And I think sharing is so important too. Don't be afraid to say, yeah, you know what, this sounds like this experience and this is what helped me. And it may not help you, but just sharing any kind of information you can or stories that help bring that individual to a safer place and give them opportunities to think about how they may solve their issues or network or change their career would be really helpful. Those would be the things I would say on the mentor side for sure. On the mentee side, I would say, first and foremost, be respectful of the time your mentor is giving you. Keep your commitments, get your meetings in the calendar early. If you have to reschedule, let them know on time, well ahead, and be prepared. The mentee should be driving the agenda. So we've got some outlines of how to structure your meetings on our site, but it's pretty basic. Sit down with yourself, write down a few questions, come to the meeting prepared with what you're hoping to get out of the mentee-mentor relationship. I think that'll go a long way. And then the third most important thing is the conversation's two-way. Your mentor doesn't have all the answers. In fact, your mentor may learn from you. So be prepared to engage as well, not necessarily expect to just listen and do.
That's great advice. Great advice. And I love the fact that it's a two-way street because that is how you broaden your network. So here's a question that I think comes up once in a while. And I suspect people might be asking themselves the same question, and it might be the reason they might be a little bit apprehensive about getting into a formal mentor-mentee relationship. What if it's not a good match? What if the first time around they're not getting what they hoped out of the program? Is there a kind of an appeal process, if you will?
Sure. Look, personalities are vast. I think it's important to come to the meetings with an open mind. But if you do feel like the relationship you're not getting what you need out of the relationship and you've done all the things to set expectations up front, we're meeting on time, the agendas are set, it's not a good match, it's okay. It's totally fine. It can be not a good match for many reasons. There's lots of things you can do. A couple of ways formally through the CERC. You can email the CERC or connect with one of the committee members. We're happy to connect with you to find out what's working, what isn't working, and if we can find a different match for you. Or two, have a discussion with your mentor. I've had many mentors in my life, and some, they were good for a point in time, and then we moved on after that. Mentor-mentee relationships are not meant to be forever. They're for a point in time. You may get to a point where you're like, okay, I think I've learned everything I can. Thank you very much for your time. It's time to move on. So there's lots of different avenues, really depends on what it is. But absolutely, if you feel like you're not comfortable or you're not feeling like it's a respectful relationship, you 100% should contact the CERC or one of the committee members. And then if there are things that you think you're not getting out of it, but you may be able to do a little bit better and you're not comfortable talking to mentor about it, we're happy to talk to you about that as well.
That's great. So before we end, please tell us, how can CERC members get involved in the program?
So we have a website, CERC Connections with an X. There is an application process, which the applications are available online. Once the applications are submitted, the committee will review for matches, and mentors and mentees will be contacted very shortly, actually, the month of December, who their matches for the year. And then it's over to them. Book your meetings, start connecting. The committee will check in with you every so often. And we'll get a chance to see how the program's running to make it better in the following year. But that's pretty much it. It's the time commitment and the interest of helping one human in this industry continue, or an interest in learning more. If you have those things and you'd like to get involved, please sign up.
Great. And we're going to put the information right here up on the screen so people can click and join. And before we finish off, we have one final question. It's how we end all of our Make Work Happen videos. And that's for you, Mala. Want to ask you, how do you, Mala, make work happen?
How do I make work happen? I stay curious. I spend a lot of time continuously learning. We're in a function that has so many things to learn. Markets change, the environment changes frequently. So it's really important to stay current and learn, whether it is through formal training or informal training, seminars, the network, phone calls with colleagues, or anyone in our mobility ecosystem, as we've talked about, Jen, relocation management companies, shipping companies, temp housing. I learn a lot by staying current and working my network informally, but also formally. There's lots of good materials and information available through books and resources online that I think are really important for mobility and relocation professionals to stay close to. And most importantly, Jen, you have to have fun. Because if there's no fun, there ain't no work happening. So that's my third.
Work hard and play hard. I can attest to that, Mala. That's what we try to do, right? This is a good industry for that. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure, and I encourage everyone to check out the mentorship program, check out the tools. Whether or not you're in the CERC community, I think it's a great example of CERC at its best. Mala's done you and the community have done such a fabulous job of putting together a great program. I encourage everyone to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our episodes. Check out the mentorship program as well. And thank you, Mala. I can't wait to see you again soon. And thank you to everyone else. And I'll see you all next time.